One of the biggest surprises at the Game Awards last night came from CD Projekt Red, who not only announced The Witcher 4, but also dropped a luscious pre-rendered cinematic trailer for it too. To celebrate the public unveiling, PC gamers Evan Larty sat down with The Witcher 4's game director Sebastian Kalemba and executive producer Gosia Mitręga to unearth more details teased in the trailer. Kicking off a new trilogy, The Witcher 4 will see you play as fan favourite Ciri of Sintra. We asked if there was ever any doubt in casting her as the lead in the new game.
Was it always going to be Ciri? Was there ever any doubt? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
to be very honest, since I remember discussions after releasing Wild Hunt that it is natural path for her to prove herself, and Ciri always loved Kaer Morhen, the childhood, the moments that she spent with Witchers and with her foster father too, with Geralt. And that was very natural choice for us. That that's the time for her, and there's plenty of room for her and for us also to build on top. There's so much room for exploration and because she's such a nuanced character and also at the beginning of her journey, so that gives us freedom and so many opportunities to be able to dig in and use for good, right?
Yeah, and also it was in the talks already, even when we were doing the Witcher Wild Hunt, actually. She was already playable character there, right?
Yeah.
So this was the kind of natural choice. And she's also younger, and there's a lot of in the front of her as well. She is, we know her story, but she's less defined than the character, yeah? Because she's younger, because she's less experienced, and because she's so passionate as a person, right? And she cares so much. It gives us an amazing opportunity for us as creators and for the players after when they will get to play the game. To experience more uncertainty and more surprises because of that character, right? So we think this is actually amazing.
Yeah, and also we pay respect to everything we've created so far. So players that know this game, The Witcher, the world, they for sure remember that the last time they've seen Geralt was actually in the 10th anniversary video, that he actually been there in this mansion that he got from Queen Henrietta, that he invited all his friends and he put this sword on the mantle and kinda he's there in Toussaint, right? He's so important for us and for Ciri, and definitely he's going to appear in the game. I cannot tell you more, but I think the promise is enough. But yeah, we believe that this journey, the new saga, this new trilogy is definitely for her.
But make no mistake, both in terms of mechanics and storytelling, the intention is not simply for Ciri to play as a female version of Geralt.
The way we make games, like in this case, we have again predefined character. We actually love it because there is for us a great opportunity to make the journey tailored to Ciri herself. So we'll let players to immerse themselves even more into the story. That's great when it comes to, but she's not a female girl. Ciri is super strong, personality, we always say Ciri is so passionate about what she's doing that she will always choose. It doesn't matter. She will always choose the bigger evil. You know what I mean? She will never be neutral. She will go for it. And then in this case, in the case of trailer, she also got a tough lesson in this case that she wasn't able to save Mioni, the character. Actually, she got the lesson that she's not. She did her best. She tried to prove them wrong, but ultimately she failed because she couldn't save her. So she cannot have the control of everything. But definitely she brought the change, and they will at some point experience it. But yeah, it's definitely not not Geralt, but we have to also remember that she brought up in Kaer Morhen, and Geralt was training her. So you should feel she's way more agile, right, when it comes to the way she fights. But there are some pirouettes, there's some, the combat style, the way she deals with the sword. Definitely inspired by the Geralt, because that's the foster father who trained her in Kaer Morhen. And we need to find this common denominator when it comes to, the fighting or the approach here and there. But absolutely, as I said before, she's definitely more like a blank page when it comes to, she's like organic. She's all about learning right now. She's all about becoming the Witcher her way.
Yeah.
So
I think that's also to remember that although I personally love Geralt, right, and there are millions of players and fans that love him too, but we need to remember that it's also not only sentiment for the old players, but we want to go through the wider audience, right? There are many people that were so young back then when the Witcher Wild Hunt was released, so it will be a new experience for them entirely, right? So this is just a character we want to put in and give an origin story in a world that some part of the world knows, but this is a new opening, that this is new saga, right? This is just a new beginning, actually, with a huge respect for the people, for the players with the sentiment, right?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear you use the phrase origin story. I mean, we know some of Ciri, of course, but it seems like almost she's coming into her own here. And we see her in the trailer, like, literally stumble to some extent, right? Yeah. So I almost get hints of, like, the first Spider-Man movie, the first, Batman Year One, like, is that a fair comparison that she's sort of, like, finding out who she is as a fighter, as a like all that stuff is coming together? That's what that means.
It's definitely, like, I think you have pretty good intuition when it comes to the character that needs to form in a way, right? So that's a very natural, I would say, way for all the young characters that are like struggling. I wouldn't also at the same time compare it like to like simply Batman on Spider-Man. Definitely there are some things in common when it comes to fantasies, but let's even say about one thing. Like Geralt was so much defined already that he had his own codex that he developed over years, right? So he knew what to choose, A, B, C. He was like really defined, very like grounded, right? Ciri, she is on her way, defining the way she deals with the struggles around, the problems, the quests, and I think that gives us also a great opportunity, and also for players to be able to kind of co-define her on a journey.
Right, and to define the way the Witcher she will be, right? The kind of Witcher she will be to do it with her, actually, during the adventure and the story, right?
Through books, games, and the smash hit Netflix show, The Witcher has a deeply developed world. We asked how The Witcher 4 will expand on this further.
So like generally the world of The Witcher is grim, as you probably experienced it in the trailer. It's really dark. But there is this light of hope always, and definitely Ciri could potentially help her, save her, and this is what we do always, right? We give these choices and consequences to the player, and I believe that seasoned players that remember Witcher 1, 2, 3, that remember Northern Realms, they will definitely be satisfied. As new gamers that will join us, because that's going to be a new story, new beginning, new protagonist, and what's cool, new regions. So we are expanding the map. We're gonna let players to explore new lands that are also pretty unique, because we put a lot of emphasis of creating this identity for each region that is special to its own kind of root origin. And new characters, new emotions, new adventures, but definitely what is in common is that Ciri, as a Witcher, she's a monster hunter, a professional for hire.
Yeah. And I think it's what's maybe worth to, because we cannot tell a lot about the new regions and the locations that you will visit in the game, but we can tell that the village you've seen in the trailer, it's called Stormford, and it's far north, it's a very isolated one, and it will be in the game.
Yeah. It's just a small village you'll be able to encounter, you'll be able to visit. You'll actually be able to get to know these NPCs.
Yeah.
How would you say the state of the world compares to when we last saw it in the Witcher games?
Yeah, it's a few years later after Wild Hunt. So I cannot tell you a lot here regarding, let's call it external stakes. But definitely it's a few years later. The world is changing, but generally Ciri is kind of proving herself on the path to become the Witcher. So that's what I can share right now, right?
Yeah, I'm just so many things in my head, but it's too soon right now, right? So,
yes. You know, there are a few things in common for every Witcher. Like you are a mutant, and like in the case of trailer, also you have people that are like, you know, believing in some superstitions, and they are like in fear all the time since they remember, right? Because they were sending these people to the forest to kind of to kind of get a few years more until the fog will come back. And it you know, it was some strange belief, but as you've noticed, like they've encountered Witcher, and the villager there, he was pissed off, literally, and because they are in fear. Also, they are mutants. They don't want to have Witchers around them, but they need them. So that's a very cool conflict already. And the Witcher needs to be kind of wise. Of course, they are making it for coin, but still, you are playing ultimately you are playing a professional to deal with monsters in this world. And he specifically called her Witcher, right? Because he noticed the gear, 2 swords, the silver for monsters, probably the steel for humans, and then, you know, full armor, medallion, right? So he specifically called her Witcher. But you could also notice how afraid he was when she turned around. And like, you know, Ciri is tough. Like, you know, she's a tough girl. Like, she was running away all her life, and finally she was trained in Kaer Morhen. So like, and at some point she's becoming a mutant. She's a super tough mutant, kind of supernatural being, and on top of that, she's the source that makes her even more powerful. So yeah, this is the rough world for every single character, even kings.
Combat continues to evolve with each new entry in the franchise, so we were keen to find out how The Witcher 4 will switch it up.
First of all, it's too soon to say about the details. However, we wanted to tease a little bit, you know, give you some premise in the trailer. You can already see that she has as a source, so she's got, you know, a different skill set, right? So you can tell that she's using her magic. She's taking out the elements from it, right? And she's a catalyzer. You can see she's doing the spells much more because it's a magic that it's not a normal science as Geralt has, right? She's more powerful on that field. So this is a one thing. Do you want to talk about the chain thing? Or
yeah, you can go if you want. Yeah, like absolutely. The chain is one of her utility tools that she's going to use it. Which is a cool segue when you look at that from the perspective of, like, let's say the past, the very first trailer for The Witcher 1. Remember, it was Geralt fighting Striga with the chain. So it's kind of a wolf thing when it comes to the schools, right? Like with every next game, we are pushing the boundary when it comes to the gameplay. So it's not only The Witcher that we take into account, but it's also Cyberpunk, right? So we've learned a lot as a studio, as a team. And the team is currently like a mix of people that worked on The Witcher Wild Hunt, but also worked on Cyberpunk. So this is great because we learn from each other, and there's like so many lessons we've gathered over the last decade. We want to definitely want to push the gameplay. We want to actually push every single discipline level.
Yeah, I just want to say that we are storytellers, right? And this is story heavy, and this is in our like hearts at most, we may say, but for us to pushing it with each installment more and to having more consistent and put every element so you have fun no matter what player you are actually. I think it's really important to us, right?
Yeah, there's definitely in Ciri there's a lot of room for development, right? Generally, like when it comes to her skills, abilities. So yeah, absolutely.
But we for sure will be focusing on the player agency, right? So,
yeah, like absolutely. Player agency is always in the center.
Because it's our RPG.
Yeah.
There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
But certainly based upon one of the last lines we heard in that trailer, no gods, only monsters.
Yeah.
Leads me to think there's plenty of monsters in this world.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's first of all, it's plenty of monsters in this world, and we're gonna create new ones. But what's really cool is it's another perspective of what the monster is in this world, right? Sometimes in this world, as you experience some of maybe you for sure, in let's say killing monsters, there was the human that was more monstrous than the regular monster. But here, Ciri is also defeating her own monster because she's kind of trying to, defend the fear. From the fear that actually the Bauk, the monster, is kind of using against her. But
and actually, Bauk, so the monster from the trailer, right, is a Serbian inspiration, the folk one, and you can expect in the game, experience and fights like that, right? So it's more complex monster, right? This one is teasing with your mind and playing games with your head, but it fits on the fear. So there is some more, I would say, relation to that fight, right? So this is a direction we're going, and this is for sure just one of the monsters you will experience.
Yeah.
What stage would you guys say you're at right now in development?
Yeah, so we've entered production a few weeks ago, and right now the team is shaped. So we're more than 400 people, and but the teams are already set up and working together in that structure. So we already have pipelines, and we're really hyped because this is the moment you know what to do. You've got tools, you've got everything, and you're just going to that. So we're scaled up and ready to continue, right, and to deliver you the game, right, at some point. So this is where we are. We're just kicking off production right now.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a great kind of energy to bring into the Game Awards.
That
announcement.
Actually, that was perfect timing for us. Like perfect. It clicked. Like I was like entering production. Then we had the trailer that we've been like kind of finalizing, and then like all clicked. It's a perfect fuel, great motivation for all of us. I think the team is super excited.
And even on the level that we can finally say The Witcher 4 publicly and aloud, right? This is amazing.
That's also
not a code name,
right?
Not a code name anymore. So this is also excited.
We'll probably try to
and our team,
relearn not to call it Polaris anymore because we are so much get used to it, and we are like even that detail it makes us super satisfied, right?
And we are happy and. Our team is also ready, so this is because we have an amazing team. So this is a pleasure to work with them, and
So how excited are you for The Witcher 4? Let us know in the comments. To stay up to date with the latest news on The Witcher 4 and everything else announced at the Game Awards, subscribe to us here and check out PCGamer.com.